भज मन राम, भज मन राम, पांडुरंग श्रीरंग, भज मन राम, भज मन राम, भज मन राम, पांडुरंग श्रीरंग, भज मन राम, भज मन यदुवर, भज मन मुरहर, भज मन यदुवर, भज मन मुरहर, भज मन रघुवर, भज मन राम, भज मन रघुवर, भज मन राम, भज मन राम, भज मन राम, पांडुरंग श्रीरंग, भज मन राम, भज मन राम, भज मन राम, पांडुरंग श्रीरंग, भज मन राम, भज मन गोविंद, भज मन आनंद, भज मन गोविंद, भज मन आनंद, भज मन
सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्ति. So Archana has a question. Can you please elaborate emotional personality as in the light of spiritual knowledge grows brighter in you? You move up gradually from your gross physical to emotional personality, from emotional to intellectual, and at last you reach your spiritual core. So you want to know what is meant by emotional personality. So Archana, you're clear about what is meant by physical, intellectual, and spiritual.
So, ma'am, when we say body, mind, means body, mind, and intellect. So, is it related with mind?
Yes.
I'm a little bit confused. That's why I think it
Yes.
is mind, right?
Yes, it is mind. The mind is our emotional personality.
Thank you.
Is that all? So now, today we are starting a very important aspect, which I believe you already know. So let's hope that it is already clear to you. We are going to study how to gain wisdom. A very, very important concept. And I believe it is already clear to you. So can you answer the question in one word? How do you gain wisdom?
Using our intellect
is the scripture.
One word.
Reflection.
Study, reflection.
Reflection. That's how you gain wisdom. So I believe you already know how to gain it. We're going to study it now in a little more detail. Okay? So let's go for it then. Who will read the first paragraph? What happened? Nobody is volunteering to read the first paragraph. We finished this, isn't it? Who is the host today? Omkar?
Yes. We finished this.
Yeah. So we have to start how to gain wisdom.
Okay. I don't have that today.
What happened? Okay. So somebody who has the book, please read it.
I can read, Janki ji.
Please go ahead, Deepa.
The world today is afflicted with binding principles and precepts. People
Deepa,
are-
slowly, because now people don't have the book.
Okay,
So
okay,
read it slowly. Yeah.
The world today is afflicted with binding principles and precepts. People are forced to abide by artificial rules of conduct. Mechanical adherence to external rules and regulations cannot change their inner nature. Even threats and punitive actions will not mend matters. Instead, that would suppress their minds and frustrate them. Religious dogmas and doctrines thrust upon the masses cannot bring about spiritual development. The way to go about it is to instill the knowledge of the inner self. That would eradicate sorrow and misery and ensure enduring peace and happiness. The process takes a while. One cannot gain it overnight. Even building the physical body takes time. Developing positive emotions involves more time and effort, while intellectual education takes years from kindergarten to graduation. Thus, spiritual edification requires far more time, effort, and endurance. That explains why people are disinclined to pursue spiritual knowledge. They do not want to set aside time for learning the deeper import of life, the higher values of living. They are averse to effort and exertion, unwilling to strive and struggle for the truth, and would rather choose the easy way out by following the herd blindly. But that does not help them. Consequently, the mass of humanity remains unspiritual and are harassed by the trials and tribulations of the world. Yeah, Janki ji, what?
One sentence, not a lot. Choose the sentence, which is one sentence, few words.
Humans are unwilling to strive and struggle to know the self.
Remember what our topic is. What is the
Gain wisdom.
main and most
Gain
important
wisdom.
point here?
Knowledge of the inner self and how to gain it.
All right, somewhat there. Okay, first tell us what is the problem he has told us? Which is the problem he has identified?
That we don't like, we believe in all kinds of outside religious dogmas and we refuse to put effort in knowing the inner self.
Yeah, start from the beginning. What is the problem? The first line gives you the problem. The world today is afflicted with binding principles and precepts. Okay, we are told this is right and that is wrong, and you better stick to what is right, and you better don't do what is wrong. Okay, that is what is happening. So when you have this, what happens? At max, you change an action. At max. But the inner person stays exactly the same. So that's our problem. That's the problem he's identified. See, he's telling us how to gain wisdom. But what is the problem here? The problem is we are given these do's and don'ts, static principles. This is right. This is wrong. He's already told us that you can't look at knowledge like that. Remember last time he told us it's a matter of degree. It's a matter of where you are. But We are not told that this is bad, thou shalt not do this, thou shalt do that. That get frightened, don't even hear them. And at best, what will we do? We will, in outward demonstration, in outward behavior, conform to that. But the inner person continues to be the same. That means, what does that mean? That means if given a chance, he will do that action. Or he will be so frustrated at not being allowed to do the action that it will become a convoluted desire in some way. It'll become a suppressed, repressed person, and he'll go and do other stupid things because he's so. So he's saying this is not the way to gain wisdom. You're contorting the personality by doing this. You know, Pink Floyd had told us many years ago the same idea. Remember? Anyone remembers? Nobody who Pink, no Wall lovers, no Pink Floyd lovers here. We don't need no education. Remember?
Yeah.
We don't need no self-control. We don't want all this rubbish. Why do we want it? Because it's artificial. You're pushing on me something I don't want. How dare you tell me how I should live my life? That's what all the wise people, whether Pink Floyd was wise or not, I don't know. But all the people who thought said, don't do this, stop this. This is a madhouse to tell people how they should live their lives. That's not our business. It's nobody's business to tell another human being how they should live their life. Right? So what is the problem? That we put these artificial rules of conduct on people, and the consequences, they are forced to behave like that in many cases, in which case they do behave like that and their inner personality gets suppressed, or they pretend to behave like that and continue to get all the negative results of whatever their original behavior was. So this is not helping anyone. It's not helping the individual. It's not helping all of us. So what is he saying? What is he giving as a solution? So that's what you were trying to say. Gain the knowledge of the self. So when you provide that as a solution, then you come up with another problem. What is the other problem we come up with?
How to gain it?
No. Before you come to how to gain it.
It takes too much time.
It takes time, it takes effort. People say, chodo yaar, kaun karega ye sab. That's the second problem we come to. So problem number one is, we are not gaining wisdom in the normal course of events because we are only told what to do and what not to do. From childhood, you started this indoctrination of what is right, what is wrong. So you've grown up to be a person, not only indoctrinated yourself, but always trying to indoctrinate others also. So therefore you get very angry when somebody doesn't do whatever you want them to do. Because you know right is right and it has to be done. This is the result of suppression. You get very angry. How dare that person not do it when it's the right thing? What does it mean? That means your personality has already gotten contorted with some kind of artificial rules. That's why it irritates you no end if people don't conform by those rules. It's a very, very frightening thing. And who is going to tell this person that all this righteous indignation of yours is only showing your own frustration? It's showing nothing else. Who's going to tell this person? And you can't tell this person. If you tell that person, use your intellect, what does that person think? He thinks my understanding of right is my intellect. And now that I'm using my intellect, you better follow me. That's how they think. That's why it's so futile. The whole game turns to be futile. Vishwam tyaktva swapna vicharam. That's what he says. It is all asaram. Even if you try to explain, it is asaram. It is pointless. It is meaningless. It is senseless. Because don't get across. How can you get across? There's too much covering on that individual. Just can't get across. If you try and touch that person and say, no, can we look at this in another way? That person will fight with you. Because they are so sure they are right. When I say they, please understand it is us. We are so sure we are right. We have no charitable instinct towards anybody. Charitable instinct in the sense, willingness to put up with another person's level, willingness to put up with another person's point of view, willingness to put up with disagreement of any sort. Our society can't take dissent. Why can't it take dissent? What is the difficulty? Why can't we just, somebody says you're wrong, so okay, maybe I am. Why can't anyone tell me I'm ignorant? Why can't anyone tell me I'm wrong? Why is it not possible? Why can't we take dissent? Why can't I accept that another person thinks in a completely different way and from his perspective he is right? Why can't I take any of this? Because my own personality is not blossoming, it is being suppressed. And all this anger that comes to us comes from there. We don't know. So he says this is not helping society, all this putting these false rules and regulations. That doesn't mean we're taking away the justice system. That's not what it means. But as individuals, as humans, see, society will follow the justice system, whatever, let it do that. But you and I, as individuals, have to understand that we are dealing with human beings. Okay, now we are setting up an institution and we want the institution to follow its rules. Of course we do. But before we set up an institution, we must understand that it's meant for human development. Sometimes, even when you're working for Vedanta, you can lose track of the fact that we are here for human development, for developing ourselves, firstly, primarily, and for giving a platform for other people to do that. We're just giving a platform. That's it. Just creating a conducive environment. Now, what they make of it is their business, not our business. To be able to stay focused on the main idea, you need to have understood the main idea. No, if you've got in your head, I'm so right and you're so wrong, how is that even going to be possible? It's impossible. So, problem is, what is the problem now? Can anyone tell me what is the problem? What is the first problem? Just so I know you all are bothering to listen to me. I'm not just talking in the air. I can only see 4 people. So 4 people I can tell, I think, are listening. But what about the rest? So tell me, what is problem number 1? Raise your hand so that I can tell you to speak. Otherwise, everybody talks together, then there's more confusion. Acha, Anita, go ahead.
We are abiding by the rules and regulations fixed by people, by the world.
Very good. So, Sanjay, tell what is the solution to this problem? Since you raised your hand, I get the second one.
The solution to this problem is to instill the knowledge of the inner self.
Very good. And where is your friend today? He's not here. Arun, are you here? Arun Sehgal? Where's Arun Sehgal? Not here today. Okay, so who is going to answer the third question, which is, what's the problem with that?
It takes time. And nobody is ready for
Yes. Suppose you tell somebody, come to Vedanta, in 25 years you'll be fine. They will say, bye-bye, see you. They are not interested. But the fact is, so in 25 years you will be fine if you have put in all the work in the 25 years. Otherwise, even after 25 years, you won't be fine. Okay, people go to the ashram and say, oh, you know those people? They are not so good. They are not this. They are not that. Have you not understood? It takes a long, long time. How can you go to the ashram and say that person is doing this and that person is doing that? It only shows mental frustration. It doesn't show anything else. Because the moment you understand this, that this is going to take time. Why is it going to take so much time? Why does it take so much time?
Because we have to unlearn first and then learn.
Yes, that is correct. Yes, we have to unlearn. It takes so much time because the nature is already formulated, right? You're not starting with a clean slate. It's already formulated. You've already been suppressed. You've also already been indulgent. You've already done 100 things. Now all that effect is there. Rub, 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 scrub, 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 rub, 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 scrub, scrub, safai karo. Spiritual path means हम सब भंगी बन गए हैं. You know Bhangi? Anita, Deepa, are you all aware of Bhangi? No? What is it called in the other language? In Delhi, I know you know Bhangi. We are the scavengers. We are scavengers. That's all we are in the spiritual path, because all we do is clean, clean, clean. Clean, clean, clean. That's all we do. See some dirt, clean it up. See some more dirt, clean it up. That's what we do. That's our full-time occupation. You say, but I'm not seeing any dirt. then you still need to apply for the job in that case. It's going to be tough.
Or ask your spouse.
Bharat, you always have wise advice. When you get married, let us see how much of this will last. Yes, very good, Bharat. Ask your spouse. They will very happily tell you. Ask anybody around. The moment you ask for criticism, it will come. In droves, it will come. So if you are finding any difficulty in finding what's wrong with you, ask people around. They'll tell you. Very happily, they'll tell you. Then you can say, thank God, एक तो मेरा काम इन लोगों ने ले लिया. At least I don't have to find my faults. सब अच्छा मेन्यू बना के दिया है. Next 25 years, what I have to work on. So, if you don't work on it from inside, you don't clean it from inside, spirituality will become just another coat that we wear. So many coats we wear, na? So much we put on. Spirituality will be one more such we put on. And then after 25 years, you'll say, oh, I did spirituality for 25 years, but I'm still in a mess. Because you haven't done it. You wore a coat. Udara nimittam bahukruta veshaha. For the stomach, many veshahas, many disguises. Remove the coat of spirituality just as you have to remove all the other coats, and watch yourself in full Monty. You have to watch yourself because you have to know what is wrong over here. What is wrong over here? So quickly we know what's wrong with other people. So quickly. So far away from knowing what is wrong with us. So far away. So, when we try to live by external rules of conduct, we don't get. That's why even when you come to spirituality, now you get a list of do's. Ye karo, ye nahi karo. In our head also it's there. Already we've been taught. Ye karo, ye nahi karo. Jhoot bolna kharab hai. Whatever, something. किसी ने बुलाया और आपने उनको नहीं बुलाया, बुरा है. Something. बुरा है. ये अच्छा है. ये करना चाहिए. वो नहीं करना चाहिए. Doesn't work. So what should we do? Gain the knowledge of life and living. Gain the knowledge of the self. Gain the true knowledge of what it means to clean ourselves up so that there is only purity within us. It's not about what other people say. It's not even about what we do. It's about what is within. Is there a clean heart in there or not? Is there a clean intellect in there or not? Only a clean heart won't work. You must have a clean intellect as well. Both you need. Yeah, oh, I'm so pure, I'm so pure. अच्छी मार पड़ेगी जिंदगी में पता चलेगा I'm so pure. Don't talk nonsense, I'm so pure. I'm so pure means I must have the whole thing. The mind is clean, the intellect is clean. You have nothing against anybody in your heart. You don't ever hold any negativity towards anybody in your heart. But when it comes to right action, you know exactly what to do. You'll always take right action. That's the state we have to reach. See Krishna, he loves Duryodhana as much as he loves Arjuna. As much as he loves Arjuna. He doesn't love Arjuna more than he loves Duryodhana. But when the battle comes, he fights on Arjuna's side. And he destroys Duryodhana. But there is no bitterness, anger, hatred in his heart towards anybody. The right action is right action. But why is our heart getting polluted? You know, that's the beautiful story in Ramayana, which you must also be knowing, which is after the war, okay, Rama has just killed Ravana. He's done all he could to kill Ravana. He has killed Ravana. Ravana and his entire army, his family, everything is devastated. Now Ravana is lying on the ground, breathing his last few breaths. And Rama tells Lakshman that go, Ravana is a great Vidwan. Take his blessings with reference to knowledge, in the sense, learn something from him. He's such a great Vidwan, he's such a great Pandit. So Lakshmana, he's not happy to hear this one little bit. So what he does is, he goes and he goes to Ravana. He will never not listen to Rama. So he goes to Ravana and he goes and stands at his head. Ravana is lying down, right? So he goes to his head and he says, please give me Vidya. Ravana doesn't say anything. He continues to lie there. So Lakshmana looks at Rama and says, oh, you're not giving me anything. I asked him. Rama tells him, if you are asking for knowledge, you don't go and stand at his head, you go at his feet. Then he goes to his feet and bows down and says, then Ravana tells him. Otherwise, most people behave like somebody's giving you knowledge means I am doing them a favor by listening to you. That humility, the service-orientedness has to be there. Now, so that is what Rama feels. Can you believe that? He just killed him. But that's what he feels. That's what's called pure heart. Can't think bad about anybody. Sees everybody exactly how they are. Whatever Ravana did, he did. But you can see that he is a Vidwan anyway. No bitterness, no anger, no hatred, no nothing. Treated him with respect. With respect. It wasn't lip service. It was actually with respect, because he could tell that Lakshmana just did the wrong thing. Okay? So, pure mind and pure intellect. This will come about when, I hope you all are following the line of thought. This will come about when, Gaya?
You unlearn.
When, okay, that's correct. You unlearn means you do learn. You learn the knowledge of Vedanta, the knowledge of the self, the knowledge of the realities of life. Once you get that, naturally you will be like that. You don't have to put an effort then. You are like that. You're not trying to do something. You're not trying to be sweet. You're not trying to be respectful. You're not juk ke pranam everybody as a habit, as a methodology of greeting people. But you have respect in your heart. And that will come out. You don't need to do anything. That will express it. Okay, all this takes to learn this knowledge and takes
time and effort.
Time and effort.
इसलिए we say forget it यार बोल रहा हूँ ना मैं क्या करूँ. That's why we want. See, people have indoctrinated us with the rights and wrongs because basically we want somebody to tell us ये करो ये मत करो. In fact, in the class, people keep telling me, In the other places, they tell me, all our marketing team tells me that you have to have something emotional, something to do so that more people will come and join us. More people won't come and join us like that, bhaiya. Those more people don't count. We are very happy to be a small group. We're very happy to be a big group. But we are very happy to be a small group who is dedicated to this rather than a big group who's come for the wrong reason. One people, of course, we want the whole world to know about this. We'll be delighted if lots and lots of people get to know about it. Why is any human being suffering? Don't suffer, people. There is no reason to suffer. But we don't want to collect janta. Janta in the sense, we're very happy. 50,000 people came, 10,000 people came. We're not happy with numbers. We want numbers, of course. We want everybody to know. But we want people who understand some fundamentals, such as we're here to clean ourselves. We have a single aim to clean ourselves. The only solution to all problems is knowledge. There is no other solution. Horrible as that solution may be, long as that solution may be, too much work as that solution may be, there is no other solution. Everything is only a temporary balm. Can you get that? Everything else is only a balm. Any other thing you do is only a balm. Should we not take the balm? No, please put on the balm. If it's hurting, put the balm. No, what is to reduce the hurt? But don't think you've solved the problem. The problem hasn't been solved. If we put on some balm here and say, okay, problem solved. No, it's not. It's there. It'll come out in some time. How difficult it is to get that. Get it. Because it's your life. And if you don't get it, you just go on putting balm after balm your whole life long and wondering why you have so many problems. So let's just get this. This is an important thing to get. So he's beginning saying how to gain wisdom by saying why we are not getting it. Because we are always adjusting action. Even in class, suppose we say something about patience one day, then you'll all adjust our action towards patience. Some other day we talk about ahimsa, then we adjust our actions towards ahimsa. That's not right. It's only one thing for us to do, which is figure it out in our heads. That's the only thing for us to do. And once you figure it out in your head, there will be no mistake. Instinctively you do the right things. You don't have to worry about it. Just figure it out. Now that takes time and effort and energy, and then nobody wants to do it. If I ask now, I'm never going to ask this question, but if I ask how many people are getting up every morning and studying, what is the answer I will get? Please don't answer the question. I don't want any heart attacks. I know what the answer is. So if you think you're studying Vedanta because you're attending classes, be disillusioned. You won't get the benefit. Morning study. Morning study means you have to figure it out in your head. In the class, you will find the concept is very clear because it's a borrowed clarity. But when you're living life, there's no one to borrow clarity from. So what are you going to do? You better do this yourself. It's like in the gym, when I used to go to the gym in the good old days before lockdown, my trainer used to make me do this, whatever that thing was called. All right. And he would increase the weight and then he would put a little, just support me, I can't see what he's doing, right? So he's supporting me from behind. And I'm like thinking, oh, cool, look, I increased the weight, but actually he's been supporting me. And then afterwards I got what he's doing, to make me do a little more. He used to do these little stunts. And then I said, you're supporting me. He said, no, I'm just touching it a little bit, just a little bit. But to me, it appears that, oh, look at what weight I picked up. That's superb. We have to develop our own strength. Because when I'm picking up something at home afterwards, when he's not there, then I can't pick up that weight. Get your own strength. Don't rely on the strength of others. Get your own. Whatever strength people have got, they have got out of their work. Isn't it? So you put in the work, you will also get the strength. You don't have to rely on anybody. You don't have to follow teachers. We are not there to follow people, and these people will bless us, and then we will. Nothing like this happen. Work. भैया काम के सिवाय कोई फल नहीं मिलता. You can fool yourself, फल नहीं मिलेगा. So Rajesh says, don't we need any frameworks at all? Would it not make sense to learn from the experience of others? It may be individualistic, but at least we have a base to start from, irrespective of whether it's suitable to you or no. Then we take it further from there. Yes, Rajesh, of course. You can take any help you want from anywhere, but the work is always your own. The gym master can tell you anything, but you will have to figure out what is applicable to you, how much you're going to do it, all that stuff. You can take any help from anywhere, but you're responsible for what you take. You're responsible from whom you take. You're responsible for all of this. So if you need a framework, of course, please do take it. You want to learn from the experience of others, please do. But it's your responsibility to choose who's this person whose experience you're learning from. If we learn from the Upanishadic masters, if we learn
Hello.
from here, then that's
Hello.
Got it, Janki. Thank you. Again.
and take it further from there. Okay, so I hope paragraph 1 is clear. Now, if it's not clear, the example after this will explain it further. Who will read paragraph number 2?
I can read.
Please do.
A child touches a hot plate and screams. It has no knowledge of fire and heat. Educate the child. Acquaint it with the knowledge of fire. It will never get close to it again. So does humanity need knowledge of life, the fundamental principles of living, the spiritual laws that govern humans and their relation with the world. Spiritual knowledge would remove the stress and strain of life, lead humanity towards peace and bliss. Should I go ahead?
No, just summarize this. Thank you.
Okay. The only thing that we need, the humanity needs the knowledge of life, because the fundamental principles of living, we need the knowledge of life, and once we know those fundamental principles, then we will never get close to it. As a child, once he knows that the plate is hot, he will never get close to it. So now he is educated on that thing. So we have to educate ourselves with the fundamentals and principles of living.
Yes, and we must use preventive. A child touches a hot plate and screams. Why does the child touch the hot plate? Because the child is ignorant. Now,
Yeah,
do you
he
want to
didn't know.
touch? Yeah, he didn't know. So now, do you want to go around touching every hot plate in the world and start screaming? Hopefully, as an adult, you don't want to do that. So therefore, instead of touching it and screaming, you
need to have the knowledge of life.
You need to know the knowledge. You need to know. If you already knew that it burns, why would you go touch it? Well, that's all it is. It's that simple.
Yeah.
Isn't it very simple, Vedanta? So complicated everything else is. Only Vedanta you will find so simple. So once you have the knowledge, then you get the peace and bliss. Then you don't need to do retail therapy. You don't need to go out of the house. Oh, I'm so miserable, I have to stay at home. You're miserable staying at home? Why? Oh, no, I have to go out of the house. I have to go. Okay, go then. But remember, it's a balm. Just remember, everything we do is a balm. It's almost like the child touches the hot stove, gets burnt, and puts balm, and next time does the same thing again and puts the balm again, and next time does the same thing again and puts the balm again. Pagal hai kya? That's why it's a child. That means head is not developed. If our head is developed, the minimum we do in life is
Think before acting.
the minimum we do. Minimum we do. What is the minimum we should do?
Learn from our mistakes.
Correct, Bhavna. At least don't repeat the mistake. You have hundreds and thousands of opportunities of making mistakes, millions and billions of opportunities. Why are you repeating the same one? Do you go and watch the same movie again and again? Do you read the same book again and again? Do you go to the same restaurant again and again every day? You don't know. Why are you doing the same mistake again? The first time you did it, it was a mistake. The second time you did it, you're a fool. The first time you got into an argument with your wife or husband, you made a mistake. The second time you did it, you're a fool. Sounds harsh? The moral of the story is, don't repeat the same mistake. You know, right? You know what people around you are like. Why are you repeating it? Yet 90%, 99% of fights between spouses are a repetition. They're not a new fight. They're the same fight. They're not fighting over a new point. It's the same thing. What does that prove? What does that prove?
We are not learning from the previous mistakes.
No application of intellect at all. At all. And yet they'll be reading books and claiming how intellectual they are. No application of intellect at all. How did I come to the same point a second time? I must be a fool. And you will notice in life, all of them, all of us, are always repeating our mistakes. It's the same mistake. We're not doing different mistakes. If we did different mistakes, we'd be very successful people in this world. Because that means you're trying many different things. We'd be very successful. But you're not trying different things. You're trying the same thing and getting the same result. All of us do that. Because we don't stop to figure it out. We don't stop to figure it out. But when we do stop to figure it out, when we understand where the problem is stemming from, and once we understand where the problem is stemming from, you lead yourself to peace. How uncomplicated it is if you only stop to think. Who will read the next paragraph? So far, so good, right? Everyone, it's clear so far. Anybody has a problem so far? Okay. So who will read the next paragraph?
I'll do that. Janki-ji, Sanjay.
Yeah, Sanjay, go ahead.
Okay. An essential prerequisite for acquiring knowledge is awareness of one's ignorance. You must become conscious of your ignorance concerning the spiritual aspect of life. Without being conscious of your limitation, you have little chance of learning. But people the world over believe they have the knowledge already. Josh Billings
Have I lost connection, or can nobody hear any further?
We also cannot hear.
Okay, so who will continue reading?
I can hear.
Who will continue reading?
I'll read Chandni.
Okay.
Yeah. Josh Billings drives home this truth. The trouble with most folks is not so much their ignorance as their knowing so many things which ain't so. It is futile to try and instill knowledge into a person who firmly believes he knows it all. Therefore, if you wish to acquire knowledge, you must keep the shutters of learning wide open. Recognize your areas of ignorance. Be ever ready to receive more and more knowledge. Your pursuit of knowledge ends only with the discovery of the self.
Will you summarize?
Basically, the emphasis here is on becoming aware and having cognizance of our own ignorance and the fact that we don't know. And yes, that's it. To know that we don't know and then to move from ignorance to self-knowledge.
The first, most essential thing is knowing that we don't know. Now, why is that so important? Because we all think we do know. Every one of us believes we know. If anyone tries to tell us anything, we will start with, why are you telling me? I will tell you. And when I say anyone, I mean literally anyone. Keep the shutters of learning open. Don't worry who is telling you. Worry what is being said. Do you know businesses have failed because the heads of the companies did not listen to their subordinates? Do you know how much information people on the ground have which management never listens to? Keep the shutters of learning open. Yes, Sanjay, no problem. Just disappears. It just disappears. Knowledge is a very precious thing, you know. If you're not attuned to it, you don't get it. If your attitude is, I only learn from my teacher, you will not learn from your teacher. Knowledge has to be taken wherever and however it comes. For that, the most important thing is the recognition that I don't know. Very important. The trouble, and please underline this, it's one of the few lines which are italicized in the book because this is maybe the most important line of them all. The trouble with most folks is not so much their ignorance. The problem in our life is not that we are ignorant, but we know so many things which aren't so. The trouble with most folks is not so much their ignorance as knowing so many things which ain't so. Where we are most certain about, we are probably completely wrong. Wherever we have no question mark at all, we are probably completely wrong. Because the reason we feel there is no question mark at all is because
Our ignorance that we know everything.
we feel there's no question. This I know for certain. If whenever I feel this I know for certain, it is because
or arrogance?
I'm so sure I'm right.
It is because, why do you feel so you're right?
We don't accept our ignorance.
Why
You've
so
never
sure?
questioned yourself.
Because it
Because
is
you know you're right.
a conditioned response. Whenever it's a conditioned response, there is no doubt. When it's a thoughtful response, there can be a doubt. But when there's a conditioned response, there's never a doubt. No doubt at all. You never thought about it. So you never realized that there were various aspects to this issue. So frightening, the most frightening part is not that we don't know, which is fine, all of us are ignorant. The most frightening part is the belief that we do know. That's what kills us. One lady went to one of the specialists in Mumbai, and he told her to take a biopsy. And then that lady, this is not a fake story, this is a real true story. That lady, she went home and she started crying. She said, I don't have cancer. These doctors only want to make money from us. It is horrible to do a biopsy. When you do a biopsy, you get cancer. And all sorts of things she said to her husband because she's crying. Her husband said, okay, fine, don't do the biopsy. The son also said, okay, if you really don't want to do it, don't do it. 6 months later, she died of cancer. Everybody knew. Don't know who to listen to. The mother is crying, wife is crying, so you have to listen. The doctor is not crying, so you don't have to listen. So what is the doctor expected to do? Start crying now? Oh, you have to take a biopsy, otherwise I'll feel very bad. Is he supposed to talk like that? What is he supposed to do? She actually died of cancer. Fact. So sure, an expert who has spent 30 years in his subject knows nothing. I, who've never thought of that subject, know everything. The trouble, the danger is not in ignorance. The danger is in the belief of knowledge. So, step number 1. I hope you're following the line of thought. What is the line of thought? He gave us the problem. The problem is wisdom doesn't come to us because we are living by some external artificial rules of conduct. So our inner personalities stay the same, they get suppressed, they get repressed, or they get indulgent, and they get all the problems of not following words of wisdom. It's by following the do's and don'ts, nothing much is happening. So what to do? Gain the knowledge, understand the facts. And once you do that, you're fine. You'll be completely all right. But the problem then occurs is that takes effort. But people say, who's going to put in this effort? Not realizing that this is the only solution. There isn't another solution. If there was another easier solution, then you could take it. But there isn't another. You say, who told you there isn't? All right, you tell us. If you know another solution, please tell us. We'd love to implement it. Tell us. Think about it. Think deeply. Is there any other solution? Think about it. And if you also reach the conclusion there is no solution but knowledge, then we come to what is required for gaining knowledge. The first thing that is required for gaining knowledge is
Your ignorance.
Accept our
At least
ignorance.
you know that I do not know.
your knowledge of your ignorance. You must know you're ignorant. How will we know we are ignorant?
When we are confident about everything.
Okay, correct. That is one way. And the other way is any kind of trouble you're facing, any kind of agitation which you go through, is a clear indication of ignorance. There cannot be agitation without ignorance. Can't be. If there's any dissatisfaction, any agitation, and how much ignorance? Proportional to the agitation. Suppose you say, I never get agitated. All these people around me are stupid. I don't get agitated. Then you come to the second way of knowing your ignorance, total confidence. itna pagal aadmi hai. He doesn't know he's agitated. Total confidence. That's the second way by which you know. So far, so good. Now, therefore, we come. Step number 1 is knowing your ignorance. Now, let's go forward and see what else we need to do to gain knowledge. Now, when I say let's go forward, this is the most important step actually, to know that we're ignorant. So, go on repeating it for emphasis. But actually, people will get it only when they think about it. I go on repeating till doomsday. Sometimes I feel like I'm a parrot. Every time I'm repeating the same thing over and over again. So it just takes somebody to get these ideas. Okay, so now who will read the next paragraph?
Ankiti, I'll read.
Please.
Acquisition of knowledge is not merely cramming of information from external sources. Presently, a person is reputed to be learned when he is acquainted with the thoughts and ideas of others, equipped with knowledge contained in textbooks and teachers. Few realize that true education springs from oneself. The word educate etymologically means to draw out. Knowledge has to be drawn out of you, not pushed in. Luminaries like William Shakespeare or Herbert Spencer derive their wisdom from within themselves. You need to study their works to graduate from university. But neither Shakespeare nor Spencer was a graduate. Someone asked Spencer if he was a voracious reader. He instantly quipped, "No, sir. If I were as big a reader as others, I would have been as big and ignoramus as others." Thus, men of wisdom have been original, independent thinkers. The knowledge laid down by them is no doubt great, but it does not become yours until you contemplate upon it, assimilate, absorb it. So here he's saying that knowledge comes from within yourself, out of reflection and contemplation. It's not somebody else's knowledge that needs to be pushed into you, but it comes out from you.
Very good. So today's concept of knowledge is, how many degrees do you have? How many books have you read? How much can you talk about politics, history, geography, whatever. This is people's concept of knowledge. There's an information explosion. What are you trying to do? Compete with Google? Any bits of this information, Google will give you better than you will do it yourself. What are you trying? Competing with Google? Not possible. That's not a human being's job. Any piece of information, look up Google, he will tell you. It's a big deal it is. Knowledge is not about cramming all this information from different sources. Some people claim to wisdom because they can quote from the Bhagavad Gita, from the Quran, from the Dhammapada, from all the books in the world they can quote. That's not knowledge. Knowledge has got nothing to do with erudition and scholarship. Knowledge has got nothing to do with erudition and scholarship. Some knowledgeable people cultivated erudition and scholarship as a means of communicating with people. But their erudition and scholarship has got nothing to do with their knowledge. So, creating, reading a million books doesn't create knowledge, because you go through the book, but the book doesn't go through you. Books that you read 5 years ago, last year, what memory is there of them? How did they change your life? What did you do with them? These are questions you have to ask. If I remember nothing of a book that I read, then did I just waste my time reading that book? None of it is retained. It came, it went. Like last year's monsoon, nothing is retained. All flown away. So it's not that reading, it's not the gaining of knowledge from external sources, but what you put into that counts. That is why you will get from knowledge only what you put in. If you don't put in thought into that, whatever you are studying, that studying will count for nothing. Vijay. Vijay, are you here? Where's Vijay?
Yes, Janki ji.
Okay. Vijay, I do not understand the path. Recognize your areas of ignorance. Can you please elaborate? Yeah, Vijay, very nice to focus your attention on that. Your areas of ignorance means the areas where you don't know. We need to be able to identify that I don't know this, such as the lady could not identify that whatever discomfort is going on in her body, she did not know what it was. Sometimes people believe that that they're poor for various reasons, okay, but that is incorrect. If you're poor, you don't know why you're poor. You have to be able to identify that. I don't know if you've heard of the curse of the lottery. Curse of the lottery is, it is actually, they did a study, people who won the lottery, that was like millions of dollars, okay, that kind of big lottery, people who won that, 1/3 of those people suffered financial breakdown. They not only lost what they got in their lottery, they also lost what they had originally. So poverty or being uncomfortable with the money you have only shows ignorance in that area. Right? Nobody will be uncomfortable with their money if they knew a simple principle. Don't spend what you don't have. It's very simple. How can you possibly get into trouble if you do that? Now the second thing, when you get any money, the first responsibility is to save and invest it. Any money, first responsibility, save and invest it. If you understand these two things, you'll never have financial problems. Otherwise, like Vijay Mallya, you will reach the top and reach the bottom, and then, I don't know, reach the top, reach the bottom, do whatever, going on and on doing this stuff. Simple financial literacy is not there. Yeah. So all our problems derive out of ignorance. We don't understand it. So we must look at our problems and know where the ignorance lies. If I'm not having proper relationships, then that's where my ignorance lies. If I don't have proper finance, then that's where my ignorance lies. If I don't have proper health, then that's where my ignorance lies. Okay, so I must be able to identify my areas of problems as my areas of ignorance. So stop doing stupid things, go and find out the right thing over there. And the other thing is, I have to also understand generally that there are many things I don't know. There are many unknown unknowns. Means I don't know them and I don't know them, and therefore they will one day come and stand in front of me as a great shock. So I must know that and take sufficient preventive actions. Is that clear?
Yes, Janki.
All right. Hari Om.
Hari Om, Janki ji. Thank you.